Hi, welcome to lesson number 3, module 3 of the Apache Spark and Scala course. So in this particular lesson, we will be learning something called partitions in RDD. Now before we proceed with the lesson, let's have a quick recap of the last lesson. In the last lesson, we have learned about the building blocks of RDD, the RDD creation and different types of or ways to create RDD. So in this particular lesson, we will be looking at RDD partitions and what are the characteristics of the same and what are the different ways in which you can have partitions. Now Spark automatically partitions the RDD and distribute the partitions across different nodes. So Spark uses partitions to achieve high level of parallelism. By default, if you are loading a data into Spark, then Spark will divide your data into partition, which is nothing but logical block containing some amount of data, and each partition will be ideally assigned to one worker node so that it can execute a task on the partition. Now, depending on how you launch Spark and in what cluster you are launching Spark, there are different number of partitions available. A typical thumb of rule is that the number of partitions are equal to the number of processor cores that you have in the cluster. So here you can see that I'm having Spark and I'm loading some data, and then what happens here is that it is getting divided into 3 partitions, and always understand that each partition will be in a machine and it will try to keep it in the main memory. Let's have a look at the RDDs in a partition level view. Now this particular figure shows the RDD in a partition level view. So you can see that the RDD is divided into multiple partitions, and whenever you are running any task, the task actually runs on the partitions. So partitions are logical blocks of data, and whenever you are performing any transformation on action, they will be happening on partitions. Now what are some of the characteristics of a partition? Now every worker node in a Spark cluster can have one or more partitions, but a partition cannot span across multiple nodes. That means the partition is the smallest element. You cannot further divide the partition and keep it on multiple worker nodes. Also, even though there is a default partition number for Spark, you can manually mention the number of partitions that you need for any file or any RDD in Spark. Now the good question here is, how many partitions should a Spark RDD have? Now a partition number of too large and too few is not a good solution. Why is that so? If I'm having a partition number which is too large, that will end up creating a lot of small chunks of data, and analyzing them will be very difficult for Spark. If my partition number is too small, then each chunk will have huge amount of data, and analyzing that also will be creating a problem. So we should carefully decide the number of partitions based on the data. Now it also depends on the cluster configuration as well. By default, if you are reading from HDFS, that is the Hadoop distributed file system, each partition will hold 64 megabytes of data. Now here I have given an example to create an RDD by manually mentioning the number of partitions that I want. So I'm using the xc.text file method, and the file that I'm reading is file.txt. The number 6 says that I want to have 6 partitions in this RDD. Now what are the different types of partitioning that you can have in Apache Spark? So you will be wondering, why are we talking about partitions right now? You see, what happens by default when you ask Spark to create say 6 partitions or 10 partitions, it does not use any logic in creating the same. So Spark will allocate multiple partitions, but it does not ensure that the data will be filling into each partition. So it is always a good thing that we mention the type of partitioning that we need. So there are 3 types of partitions you can have. You have something called hash partition, range partition, and custom partition. So let's have a look at them in detail. The first type of partition which you can use is called hash partition. Now, the hash partition method attempts to spread the data evenly across multiple partitions. For example, let's say you are loading a text file and you want to divide it into 6 partitions which should have equal amount of data. You can use a hash partitioner. This is the default partitioner of Spark, which means by default when you are loading a file and then if you don't mention anything, it uses the hash partitioner. Object.hashCode method is used to determine this partition. So let's take a practical example for using hash partitioner. So here you can see that I'm importing a package called org.apache.spark.hashpartitioner so that I can use hash partitioner in my code. Then I'm creating an RDD called text file by mentioning val text file equals sc.textfile home skillspeed desktop a.txt. So basically I'm reading a file called a.txt using the text file method to create an RDD called text file. And then I'm creating another RDD called words by typing val words equal to text file dot flat map line dot split space dot map word comma 1. So basically I am applying a transformation here on the RDD, and the transformation functions that I'm using are flat map and map, and we don't have to understand the transformations in depth right now because we will be doing a lot of hands-on on transformation. But the important point here is that at the end of the transformation I'm using a dot partition by method where I'm calling the new hash partitioner and the number 10. This means I want this RDD called words to be divided into 10 partitions with almost equal amount of data using the hash partitioner. Next type of partitioner is called a range partitioner. Now this is a very efficient technique which has a particular ordering in the keys. So if you're having key value pairs and then if you can find out an order in the keys, you can use the range partitioner. Now we know that the keys are always non-negative and the range partitioner will sort the records based on the key, and then it's going to divide the records into a number of partitions based on the given value. So here you can see a practical example of the range partitioner. So in the first step I am importing the range partitioner package by typing import org.apache.spark.range partitioner. In the next step I am creating an RDD called text file using the text file method and reading the input data from desktop a.txt. This is the same example that we have done previously. And then I'm creating the words RDD by applying the flat map and map transformation on the text file RDD. And after this I'm creating another RDD called range. This time I'm saying words dot partition by new range partitioner 10 counts. So here counts becomes the key range and 10 is the number of partitions that you want. So create something called a custom partitioner. So if you don't want a hash partitioner and if you're not able to have a key with specific range, then you can have your own custom partitioner. Now this is used in case of special use cases and data structures, and custom partitioning allows us or the developers to have a control on the number of partitions and the distribution of data. While creating a custom partitioner, we have to extend the partitioner class and we have to implement a get partition and number of partition method. So while doing this, you can have your own partitions and implement the code. So to wrap up in this particular lesson, we have learned about RDD partitions, the characteristics of partition and types of partitions. That's all for this lesson. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to raise a thank you. Support ticket